Hey yo, it's 5 rounds, 5 topics a season. Home of the most controversial opinions. Dropping each round on a Friday. If you're about the top trends, then it's our way. So make sure you subscribe. Believe it or not, the vibe is out here. Whereby the peeps can talk with no fear. Hey, what's the name of the podcast right here? What's happening? This the vibe right here. Pandies be the tribe right here. We about to go live right here. If you're talking about the rounds, then it's 5 right here. What's happening? This the vibe right here. Pandies be the tribe right here. We about to go live right here. If you're talking about the rounds, then it's 5 right here. Hey, yo, hit the like button. You know I'll be checking.
What's going on, people? Welcome to 5 Rounds. I am Juan Tali. We have the fact checker in the building, or should I say on the stream. OV2 Nice will be here soon, as well as everybody else that is supposed to be here. Sorry we're late. I was here. The fact checker was here on time. I'm always here on time. I can see RJ was complaining there in the comments already. Yeah, it says there are 53 Fridays in a year, multiplied by the 5-minute average lateness. All right, relax yourself. That's more than a year I spend waiting on you lot. Wow, sorry. You know what I mean? Sorry about that.
I mean, I don't blame her.
You don't blame her. You don't blame her for complaining about being. You were here with me in the background, waiting for all this to kick off. And
I mean, was I?
So, do me a favor, please. Get out of here. Get out of here, man. Shit, I'm saying.
I said RB. That's what I said. She says who? I said RB. Okay, guys. Thank you very much for coming on. For joining us. It's Friday. If you guys are in Europe or the West, it's cold as hell today. But we're gonna get through this. We're gonna get through this. I hope you've got your I hope you're keeping warm. That's the most important part. Mr. Fact Checker, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm looking forward to the topic today.
Good.
Not good.
You're looking forward to the topic?
Yeah, I'm ready to be devil's advocate.
Aye. Yeah. Are we in trouble?
I might be. Out of context, I will possibly be.
Oh, you're in trouble. You're in trouble, bro. Yeah, so let me start with the pleasantries, We'll start with Anna. So Anna is celebrating her birthday today. So I want to say happy birthday to Anna. It's not her birthday yet, but she will be celebrating it today in London. So for you, Anna, here we go.
Oh, shorty, it's your birthday. We're gonna party like it's your birthday. We're gonna sit on daddy like it's your birthday. Oh, shorty.
Right. And of course, tomorrow is RB's name day. So happy name day in advance, RB. Nala and MP are getting married tomorrow. The podcasters OGs are getting married tomorrow. They're tying the knot. I am sure MP right now is practicing his lines as we speak. Nala's probably sweating, but we wish we were there, to be fair. But all the best, Nala and MP. Happy birthday, Anna. And happy name day, RB. That is how we do things here on 5 Rounds. But anyway, if you guys like culture, vibes, laughter, and a hint of drama and controversy, you're on the right channel. Now, the subscribers, the numbers, we've sort of slowed down here. We're still at 1,623 subscribers, but come on, let's get it to 1,700. Maybe not before the end of the year, but let's try and get it to 1,700. Do you want us to give away some money? You know what you want? Maybe let's put that incentive there to say, hey, if we get to this amount, we'll do a draw for the pandies. You have to be a subscriber to win, So maybe we'll do that. Is that what you all want? Is that what you want, fact checker? You want us to stop giving
Why,
money?
why am I the one who has to make this decision? You're the host. You should
You wanna
choose.
you're part of the pandies. You're part of the pandies, no bro.
You know what? Ask the audience. Do a vote. There we go.
Do a vote. RB
Yeah.
says yes, we want money. Do a vote for whether people want money. People want money, Okay. Yeah, she says they want money. Look, let's get on with this topic. Here we go. Can men and women just be friends? I was sitting there thinking about what we're going to talk about today. I was off half the week, and I thought, what are we going to do today? What are we going to talk about? Yeah, then it occurred to me, boom, let's talk about this. And I thought about it, I was like, yes, no, because I think friendships, right? They're much easier, obviously, if now when thinking about this topic, I was thinking I don't want to offend these communities, whatever it is, but I also want to speak from experience, right? That's what I want to do. So we're not here to offend people, but we want to speak from experience. So friendships normally, well, the normal perception of friendships by society, same sex friendship. And in that case, if you're heterosexual, it doesn't really cause a problem. Yeah. But then when you have friendships with the opposite sex, now, growing up in a country that is God fearing, very, God fearing, they preach abstinence and all these things, and some of us grew up during the time that the AIDS pandemic was rife.
Mm-hmm.
Parents are really strict on having female friends, even bringing over a girl to your house was a mad one. It was a mad one because your parents will not that they'll free. Some parents will freak out. Some parents will say, "Hey, I'm not about to have a grandchild," or some parents will say, "Hey, just leave the door open." Huh? But there is no parent. You can't tell me any parents in Africa would tell you that I know use protection. I mean, in the West, that at an early age, the children are advised to use protection. Don't make it. But where we're from, if that person gets pregnant, how are you going to feed them? Hey, or, you know what I mean? I don't know. If you agree with this factor, but this is from my experience. This is what I've gone.
That is true. That is true.
Say.
Uh, oh
Um.
yeah, the stress that we used to give them.
Oh man, honestly. And then you see, also there are certain situations that people sort of have a little bit of the when you have a friend of the opposite sex. Yeah. So when you have a friend who is, for me, if I have a friend who is a lady or girl or whatever, if I'm out in public in where I'm from, if I was out in public with this friend, my friends would think I'm dating this person.
Mm-hmm.
That's one way. They'll think I'm dating this person, or they just think I'm the coolest person ever because I can talk to women, or I can talk to girls, or I can hang out with girls and they're comfortable with me. Or other girls would just think I'm just a player. That was the perception where I was from, right? So I want to get into this, basically. I want to get into this question because obviously the question is, can men and women just be friends? So Mr. Francis, I want to ask you this question. Does physical attraction, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
complicate friendships?
Um. Wait, do you say physical
Yes,
attraction
physical
or
attraction, brother.
um like when you're younger, yes. As you get older, even when you're younger, yeah. I think the best way to put it is if you're younger, yes, it will complicate things because you reach a point where you're just thinking about, I guess, kids will be thinking about like, oh, I'm doing everything I can to like attract the opposite sex and everything, but in reality, it shouldn't. But
Hmm.
yeah, I would say actually, yeah, it complicates things,
Wow.
especially if it's quote unquote your type. Then yeah, yeah. If like if you meet like if you got a work friend and
Uh-huh.
then she happens, for example, to be your type. It might
Phys-
complicate it. It might
physically.
complicate it. Yeah, physically, it might complicate
Mm.
things because you'd be like, oh yeah, thinking about it, like yeah, she's normally the type I would go for, or something like that.
But you can't have everyone.
You
That's
can't. Mm-hmm.
you can't have everyone. But also that person you're attracted to might also have certain qualities of a friend.
Mm-hmm.
So then, if it complicates friendship, how do you deal with that? If you know that this person, you're physically attracted to them, they're like physically, yeah, you know,
Mm-hmm.
they're the thing. But also, you see friendship qualities, or maybe, maybe let me roll this back. Personally, for you, if you're attracted to someone, can you see them as a friend?
Yeah. Oh, personally, if you're talking personally, yeah.
I'm talking personally. I ain't,
Oh, personally. Oh, personally,
mm,
yeah. Yeah, easily, yeah.
hmm, that's very interesting.
No, it's not interesting. It's very easy.
It is very interesting.
Great. I think it also depends on how you grew up because, like, honestly, if you grow up in an environment where, like, you're not as exposed to women in a non, this person is attractive way, um, that's kind of how you're gonna perceive it. But then, if you kind of like understand, like, they're just humans, they're just people, then
Interesting.
it becomes easier.
Okay, Francis. And then I have a scenario for you because you're
No.
physically attracted to this person, right? And you're
Mm-hmm.
saying you see that person as a human being.
Mm-hmm.
What if they do something to entice or tempt that attraction you have? What are you doing about that?
Then that's not my friend. Like that wasn't my friend to begin with. Like they're not
Well,
like then if they're trying, it means that they want to move on to like be something more than a friend.
okay.
Like if you're talking about like that means we're moving. If we're talking about like just specifically keeping a friendship,
Yeah.
then yeah, there's nothing to really worry about. But then if they like move on to like trying to flirt with me, then that's a completely different thing.
Hmm. Let's Well, okay, fine. What if it's not aggressive? Maybe
Mm.
I've suggested it in a more it might be a little bit aggressive. Let's say it's not aggressive. It's just
Mm-hmm.
passively. I don't know. She needs to change, and she doesn't really care you're there, and she just
Mm-hmm.
starts changing. You know what I'm saying? You good with
Um,
that because you're physically attracted to this woman.
mm, Again, if we're talking personally, the thing is, right? Like I can acknowledge if someone is like attractive, but
Hmm.
I am like again because I am not. This is a weird way to say it, but then I'm not everyone's cup of tea. So
Oh
I
no
kind
no.
of no. I kind of I understand that that brings in a lot of like personality. That's like I know there's that joke about personality is something people like look for, but that's how I also see it. Like yeah, looks. I can acknowledge that
Okay.
like someone is like attractive, quote unquote, my type. But if that's all it is to them, I just can't. But if they're like a friend before, and we've had like a long like years of friendship, then yeah, it's kind of like you can. I guess the transition would be like easier
Hmm.
than if
Oh,
they're just like an acquaintance that's attractive.
okay. Okay. Um. Look.
No.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Bushido Brown's missus, but
Yeah.
I'm asking questions here. I bet she's listening keenly.
I am outside today.
Oh, you're out. You're sleeping outside. Sorry, bro. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
like
Don't worry. I will answer the question too.
okay.
You can grill me if you want.
Mm-hmm.
No homo. Pause. Arby Arby says, I don't think so. They might be looking, but not what you want. We're grown.
Mm-hmm.
We can appreciate other people's looks without having a certain thing. The reason I'm asking these questions, right, is because when you're in certain situations, it gets because this relationship is between two people. Then when you invite another person who maybe you might have another relationship with, or let's say you're dating someone, these are the things you consider, like, oh, what's a threat to the relationship and what's not, That's why I ask these questions, Mr. Bushido Brown. Personally, does physical attraction complicate friendships for me? Nah, it doesn't, because I'm going to meet people that I'm physically attracted to, but I like as friends, and I weigh it up this way. Do I want a physical connection with this person, or do I want an actually meaningful friendship with the person? This is the way I look at it in my mind, right? I think, okay, we can pursue the physical side. Everybody gets what they want. Maybe she's also physically attracted to me. Who knows? Yeah. Everybody gets what they want. But then what happens to the friendship? Because I feel like, in my opinion, I feel like it starts blurring the lines. The minute you get that comfortable with someone, being a friend is going to be very difficult, because you've created this intimate, even if it's physical, you've created this intimate connection. And then the minute, say, one of you says, no, I actually want to have a partner elsewhere, it creates a problem, So I've always thought to myself that even if I'm physically attracted to someone, right? If I get on with them as a friend, I need to choose what it is it's going to be. Is it going to be physical, or is it going to be a friendship? And from that point, I just have to tell myself it is going to be what it is, Then it's down to discipline, because at the end of the day, I think that the psyche of a guy, I know Mr. Definitely Not Francis say black men don't cheat, but black men get tempted all the time. Women get tempted all the time. It's what you do about it. It's how you act and what you do about it, basically. Yeah. So, sometimes your lady friend might be looking for a partner. Even if she's your friend, she might be looking for a partner, and then she finds those qualities in you, and then she switches up on you, because these things change. She switches up on you, and all of a sudden, she wants to make sure that your world crashes and burns, so that she takes opportunity. And that can happen both ways. Even the guy as well. Guys who play the long game and just wait to pick the girl up when she's in her worst moment, just to go. And then the girl goes, I don't know what happened. I don't know. It's just and all of a sudden we're not dating, and I've got these kids. Oh my gosh, my pussy naked. You ever seen that movie?
Yeah, my gosh, this stupid.
Hey, come on now. RB says, I don't think so. They might be good looking, but not what you want. Okay, I read this one actually. I read this. Gunjan, where you at, man? I'll speak to my sis-in-law, so you at least get the sofa tonight, Francis. Yo.
See, that's friendship right there. That's friendship. But the dog's gonna. The dog's gonna get priority. So,
I mean, I think you're lucky, because in this case, because the dog likes you, you probably ain't getting kicked out. You know what I'm saying?
The way that dog gives me a headache sometimes.
Hey,
I do appreciate the thought, RB. I really appreciate the thought.
Thank you for the consideration, RB. Okay, next question. We touched on this a little bit, right? So does society and culture impact how we see male and female relationships, right? So does, the society and the culture we're in, the tribes, the religion, does it impact how we see these relationships, or is it more at home? Is it a charity begins at home situation? Mr. Definitely, or do you want me to start?
You start this time, Mr. Host.
I think it does. Because I think in many things it's herd mentality, until it's very it's a very personal issue. It's herd mentality. Everybody wants to be on the right side, and we always go by majority rule, with many things. Obviously there's some people who always go against the tide or whatever it is, but normally what is perceived as normal is what the majority perceives as normal. So I think, yes, it really, really influences how we look at things. And like I said before, when you're seen with a woman in public or whatever, they just think, no, you're involved. And if that person's comfortable with you, that's it. you're done for. Even the partner will be like, wait a minute, she ain't that comfortable with me. Perception. Um, what's the other thing? Just simply the I guess the fear that, oh no, you might get pregnant when it hasn't even gotten to that point.
Yeah.
I think it also drives people to start thinking that way. If you keep saying, oh no, there's a danger of this, there's a danger of that, then people will think that way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, um, Religiously, is there anything in religion that tells you that it's okay to be friends with somebody of the opposite sex? Is there stories that say, oh no, this person had a friend who was of the opposite sex?
Honestly, not like my memory. Like I don't remember like a verse or anything.
Hmm.
I'm just like a
So.
bad Christian apparently. So
Oh,
oh my God.
but, mm,
Um,
wow. Okay. Go on. While you think about it, RB says,
yeah.
I think it's people's insecurities that impact the most, not society or culture. Yes. Can you elaborate, actually, before I agree with what you're saying? Elaborate on that. Um, People's insecurities. Yeah, it can be. It can be people's insecurities, yes. But also perception. If it's not normal, it's easier to feed into those insecurities. Like I think like we've spoken before, it's easy for someone to have a narrative and then jump onto something that agrees with their narrative or agenda. So yeah, it can be insecurities. But personally, I went to a boys and girls school since I was a kid. So I know how to be around people of the opposite sex and all these things, right? In
Yeah.
fact, when I went through boarding school, I think most of the guys that were in my school didn't go, they went to all boys schools. So they rushed into relationships and all this. Or they even abstained from having relationships because the schools that we went to did
Mm.
not promote relationships. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know about you, Francis, but the schools I went to didn't promote
That,
it. Yeah, even some jobs that I've done, where I am now, they don't promote like like proper so it drives this wedge. But by doing that, I think, look, by just putting a stop to something without actually helping people understand why that stop is there, or maybe giving people enough responsibility to decide on their own, it just makes people curious. So from my experience, I'd gone to a boys and girls school from a young age. When I went to boarding school and I'm going to school with girls, it didn't bother me. Yeah, it was normal. But for the other guys who are capitalizing on that, they're like, "Yo, we gotta do this." Even for the
yeah.
girls. And what you normally found, or what I normally saw, was people that went to all girls, all boys schools, they would end up in some sort of scandal, or get pregnant, or do something, because simply because of curiosity. Now they're like, I'm old enough, I can just go and make these decisions. I'm not saying that I was better off, but I got to learn quickly, or I got to learn like what it's like being a person of the opposite sex and not just going with what people say. Because let's be honest, a lot of things that, for me anyway, a lot of things that I did as a kid, especially with the opposite sex, I was just winging it. I think the first time I asked somebody out, you won't believe, it was the most ridiculous thing I ever said to this person, right? It was, I didn't even say, will you go out with me? I just said, I literally gave her a riddle, like, because
Bars. I came in with bars.
because I came in with a metaphor. Can you believe it? Because some friend of mine, well, my friend said, no, this is the right thing to do. What you need to do is say, oh, if there's a bed while you lay in it or some shit or something like that. And when I listened back, but the girl got it though. She got what I was saying. You know what I'm saying? Which is the weird part.
That
It
is
worked the
terrifying.
first time, but having friends that are women, you now tend to understand how women think and how they want you to communicate with them. Of course, everybody's different, but there are certain things you pick up. This is why I'm saying, having those relationships early made me learn a lot of things, and break a lot of stigmas as well. Because I like to know the facts. Like, I like to know, like, what, because when you're in that relationship with someone, right, you depend on
Mhm.
the things that your mates have told you, or what you've learned, but you haven't really, those first few relationships, right? You depend on your mates, what you've seen on TV. A lot of people tend to follow what's on TV, and what's on TV is not exactly reality.
Mhm.
It's not like that. So that's why I'm saying it's quite. Yeah, it really impacts how you think about friendships and things like that. Abi says Hebrews chapter 13 verse 13. Let brotherly love continue. It just says brotherly love though. Give us a bit more. Give us a bit more. Abi says gave her a riddle, treating an equation like it's treating a relationship like a mathematical equation. Men been doing all these calculations. Listen. Listen. Relax yourself.
Look at this. Somebody come look at this.
Hmm?
Look at this.
I mean,
Somebody come and look at this.
she's not lying, bro.
Look at this.
Yes. You see, that's the problem. Men are just expected. We're expected to know these things, right? This is why I'm saying, like, you see the effect of, I guess, succumbing to cultural norms. The effect of it is this: you get grown men who can't talk to women.
Mhm.
Grown men who don't have game. But also, I can flip this around. You get also people that have been comfortable around women. They know exactly how to manipulate them or take advantage of the position they're in, if that makes sense. So it definitely flips both ways. It definitely does, and it's a mad one. It's a mad one, honestly. So, Mr. Definitely No Francis, the question goes back to you.
Yeah.
I'm hoping I didn't answer everything. Um, does culture or society impact how we see male and female relationships or
Oh,
women?
definitely. Definitely. Again,
Uh-huh.
it does start from the house. Like it, like we come from a culture, like again, coming from Malawi. We've seen, for example, some people have like really strict parents, and we don't really see them, for example, being like jovial and playing around and stuff. We just see them
Mm,
as these figureheads of the house. But
mm.
then there are like the occasions where you actually see like parents that are like being playful and stuff like that. Like obviously it doesn't have to be like slapstick and pushing each other, but then stuff like that, like bumping them in a joking way, like throwing pillows at each other and stuff like that. And then you grow to see that, oh, that's like you just like internalize all that you see. Like, oh, a relationship is like playful, it's fun. But the thing is, that's what we're always gonna see. We never really see the like intricacies, the deeper stuff that might be happening behind like closed doors. But initially, that is what we're gonna see. Along with, for example, like if you're just um exposed to like certain movies all the time,
Mm-hmm.
or you're exposed to like what your friends say and all that. At the end of the day, that's what's going to influence your, what do you call it, your view on it. Like what you said, like being in an all boys school, for example, or just being in a school that like doesn't really kind of demonizes like the friend, like boys and girls, like I'd say just being in the same vicinity. Like if you're in
Mm.
like in boys and girls hostels, they'll be like, oh, just make sure you don't like interact too much, it's time to go in, like you can't be alone together, blah 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 blah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
RB has something to say.
Oh.
She says, I think your approach is way too one sided. There's more to friendships than this. Different friendships have different starts. Like you can make friends with people in a work environment or school. I'm not
Mm.
disagreeing with this, but I'm looking at the fundamentals, right? Which is why I spoke about school, because of your first encounter with people that are of the opposite sex, or
Mm.
on your own. I'm saying, yeah, I'm not talking about going to church and none of that nonsense, or going to play groups. I'm
Mm.
saying you get put in an environment, you're on your own, you're thinking independently. That is the first place you get exposed to those type of relationships. Then you build that on to work. Because if you're getting to the point where you're working and you've been at I don't know, nunnery or whatever it is, like, it's going to be different, isn't it? The minute you hear
Mm.
a deep voice, that's not your father. Jeez, there's going to be problems over there. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
This
You
dude.
get it.
This
You
dude.
don't get it. Forget about it.
Okay. The same way. So Abi says the same way you can have a relationship and stay friends after is strictly dependent. This question, like okay, Mister, definitely not Francis. Would
Mhm.
you stay friends with your ex? Because since that's come up, and it's quite relevant to this topic, would you stay friends with your ex?
Honestly, yes. But then again, it's not as simple as like, yes, I can. There are like things we have to consider, like how you two split up in the first place. Is like
Uh-huh.
really like people don't think about that because, again, what we see, how we should like act to the fact that you're now ex. Because from personally, what I've seen, a lot of like what I see on me in media and stuff like that is a lot of animosity towards exes, and
Mm.
sometimes you have to question: are all exes that evil? Like, like, like is like it's not.
Compare.
Yeah, sometimes it just isn't the case that like again exes are like bad people. Sometimes it can be like an amicable split, and then yeah,
Yeah.
you can be friends. I honestly think you can be friends, but then it's just more than that. If it was like a really bad breakup, you gotta like you just gotta move on from that.
Okay. Now you see, I've got a question that would come later, but anyway,
Hmm.
so do you think your partner would be comfortable with that?
Yeah, yeah. Like, unless it's like if I have to like, and the thing is, if she needs like reassurance that like, hey, we're just friends, I'll be because I'm not hiding anything or I'm not afraid of anything. I'll be more than happy to like keep assuring her that it is nothing more than just a friendship we have.
Brother, you're sleeping on the couch. You're sleeping on the couch. I'm
This
telling you,
guy, this
brother, you
dude.
are sleeping
What
on
about you,
the
sir?
couch.
Do you think you
I
can be
used
friends
to.
with me?
I used to think that, but I don't anymore.
Guan.
I've been, and this is about. I guess for me, I got this lesson from culture, family. The
Mm-hmm.
people that I know. Because yeah, at first I didn't understand it. If you can
Mm-hmm.
be friends, why not, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then if you have a connect to your past, it's an anchor. This is, from my understanding, it's an anchor to your past.
Mm-hmm.
Saying that you're not allowed to learn from it, you should. But
Mm-hmm.
a past connection to someone you were intimate with does not really give a fair chance to that person who's trying to get to know you. Okay.
Why?
Um,
Why doesn't it give it a fair chance?
i- if that person that you dated is your friend and is your
Mm-hmm.
friendship circle, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you will obviously have a good level of a level of understanding, a level of a connection. But
Mm-hmm.
that and again, I'm talking as a guy. The other
Mm-hmm.
person you're dating will always, they always look at your past. It's like a credit score, isn't it? They always look at your
Mm-hmm.
past. Who did you date? What would they like?
Mm-hmm.
So that they can make a picture of what you're like to date. We do
Mm-hmm.
this with companies. People go on Glassdoor to see,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, what a company is like.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You're trying to get to know this company, but somebody else knows the company
Mm-hmm.
better. So you want to know what's going on here, right? In this case, if the company's good, then obviously the reviews are good, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm trying to say, right, is if that person knows you well, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and their partner is trying to get to know you, and they feel, I guess, that they cannot form the same bond, if not a different one or a better
Mm-hmm.
one, they will always feel under threat, insecure, as
Mm-hmm.
RB mentioned there. You know, that's what I'm trying to say here. And I'm gonna tell you what, nine
Yeah.
times out of 10, I have experienced something like that. Um, so Mr. Definitely Francis.
Okay. Okay. See. Okay. That's interesting because
Mm,
the one thing about the ex specifically being a friend, and if it was like again a like an amicable, what do you call it,
break
mutual
up.
breakup,
Mm,
is if they are truly your friend, there's one thing in friendships that's always like It's always gonna be there, and that's boundaries.
Oh yes.
So if you and your ex are unable to, what do you call it, to
Have boundaries.
have boundaries, and then honestly they're not really your friend. They're just somebody who's waiting in the shadows. And if you truly love like the person that you're with at that time, like in the current, then you're gonna be like, hey, you I guess you'd like snitch like, hey, so my ex that I was feeling with my friend, she was like, she's now randomly like, hey, you know what, throwing hints, like flirting jabs at me. And I think I'm just gonna like cut that friendship off, because that's no longer a friendship if again she's like flirting with you and stuff, because there are those boundaries that you have to like, that you have to have.
I hear that, man. I hear that. Yeah, it's a tricky one, if you ask
Hmm.
me. It's a very tricky one. How do you know? You know, well, I guess you know when you set boundaries yourself. You know when somebody breaches them. But look,
Hmm.
if somebody had feelings for you, yeah,
Hmm.
they had feelings for you. They have a connection with you and whatnot, and you had feelings for them.
Hmm.
How easy is it to set these boundaries?
um Again, it all comes down to like, again, boundaries and being honest, I guess. Like it's actually like, boundaries are actually very easy to set. The hard thing is keeping them, especially
Yeah.
when you're in a situation where it's like the person used to be very, was very capable of like, I guess not exactly breaking, but understanding them and knowing like when to stop and stop. Like about to like cross the boundary, but then they'll stop. That's when like boundaries can like slowly like break down. So that I understand where that might be a struggle for some people. But again, if you're like, if you're like with a current person and you're concrete and you've set your boundaries and you're gonna like stick to them, it is not that hard. It is not that hard. But if you easily fall into temptation, that's that just might be you, chief.
Ah! Wow! Wow! Wow, man.
Lord Jesus.
Okay. Fair enough. It might just be me. It's a me problem. I apologize.
I apologize as well.
Um, well, the partner gonna have to step their game up. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Abi says since he advertised growing his 2 minutes to 5 minutes to five, look at his exes popping back. Look at God, Francesco. She ain't your friend, brother. She ain't your friend.
Real friendship right there.
She ain't your friend. She is not your friend. Okay, here's another question for you.
Yes, sir.
Have you lost a friend over romantic feelings? So, have you ever been in a situation where you're friends, but then it advances to something else? You know,
No,
have you ever had to lose a friend? You know, like,
no,
oh
no,
man,
no.
we're
If
friends,
it's
but I see you another way.
um, the thing is, right? Personally, like if there's a hint at that, actually, no. I just haven't been in the situation. I can't really speak on it because I haven't been in the situation where like, oh, I'm with someone and then they happen to like me enough to, what do you call it, for us to even try it out or anything.
Hmm.
Yeah, so unfortunately I haven't, but I do get how people would be like, "Oh, I lost a friend through it." What about you, sir? What about you?
I
Have
have.
you? Ah,
I have.
do tell, do tell.
I've lost a friend and gained a friend too. Both ways. It just depends on the person
Mm-hmm.
that like the personnel.
Mm-hmm.
I've lost a friend before because I think the person couldn't settle
Mm-hmm.
for anything else, and also for me, like say I've been honest and those things have developed to something, and I'm thinking you gotta
Mm-hmm.
go that way. Yeah, I've been there before where I've been friends with someone. I developed these feelings. There's a story. I
Mm-hmm.
developed these feelings, and then we get in a relationship and it doesn't work out. I've lost a friend through that,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because we've now crossed into the relationship territory and where things changed suddenly, or not suddenly, but
Mm-hmm.
drastically, because when you're friends, you can pick up the phone, blah, 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 oh, you're silly, oh, haha, bye. But when you're in a
Mm-hmm.
relationship, it's constantly that's your person. Everything
Mm-hmm.
you do centers around that or whatever it is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit different. The pressure is a little bit different, and you see things changing, or you
Mm-hmm.
learn more things with that person
Mm-hmm.
because you have those boundaries you were talking about. They're
Mm-hmm.
now gone. You're now starting to peel some layers. I've got this theory where there's layers to people, like an onion.
Mm-hmm.
So you start to peel those layers, and you start to see, ooh, this is the person I'm with, or whatever it is. And for me personally, it's reached a point where I've gone, okay, I can't be friends with this person,
Mm-hmm.
sort of thing, simply because there have been feelings involved. But then I'm gonna flip that too, where you know I've got a friend, and those things get misconstrued now. It now becomes a physical attraction, as you described. I'm not talking personally. I'm
Yeah.
just saying, like it becomes a physical attraction here, right? And that when one of you goes, you know what, actually, it's got to be more than this. You know what I mean? That's where the lines get blurred and misunderstanding starts. So yes, you can lose a friend that way too. Because all this time you've been great friends to each other, and then again blurred the lines. Boundaries have been
Crossed. Yeah.
crossed, and then before you know it, situation is mad.
Let's do it.
Wow.
Oh, how did okay? So after that, how did it? So from there, how did it like change your view on it? Did you like stop? Like, if you got into a friendship with someone, did you think like, oh, I'm a friend with this woman? Did you think like, oh, because I'm so close with her, I'm never going to be, what do you call it? I'm never going to see her as a potential romantic partner.
Well, you got. I go back to what I said at the
Hmm.
beginning. You know, I said you got to. I weigh up what I'm gaining and what I'm losing. You know,
Mm-hmm.
if I have a good friend, do I want to lose that? Do I
Mm-hmm.
want to lose that just to gain something that might not be? You
Mm-hmm.
know, that's the way I look at it.
Mm.
So I have to tell myself that this this might be beneficial to me than that. Maybe that person might be a good partner,
Yeah.
but it takes a lot of. I think for me, my process of not evaluating, my screening process is
Mm-hmm.
much more vigilant because I want to know if that person is as good. It can just be a friend or not. Because I think once you
Mm-hmm.
cross that line, there's no coming back. That's the way I see it. There's no coming back. It's very
Mm.
hard to revert back to friendship because you're
Mm.
comfortable with each other. You know each other's vulnerabilities to a certain level. You can't tell me that you know all your friends, like all your friends, your best friends. You can't tell me that you know all their vulnerabilities and whatnot. At an intimate level, you can't tell me that. Or maybe Francis, you might. Who knows? But the way I see it, you can't tell me that. So then, if that one person is your friend, your partner, your what, and they know everything, and then
Mm-hmm.
you revert back to friendship, not only are you putting these boundaries up, but you're also expecting to behave in a certain way. It can be very, very complicated.
No, I get that. I get that.
Yeah. So that's why I was a little bit shocked when you said you can be friends with your ex, bro. I was hella shocked.
Again, as in again, the thing is to that, it's you can't like again if you're willing to like what do you call it, be friends, and you have those boundaries, then you can be. But the thing is, you can be friends like actually with any relationship. With if they cross certain boundaries, you just have to let them know. And if they keep doing it, you gotta let them go.
Wow.
That's literally it. That's why. Because like I think people because people see friendships and relationships as two things that are so far different from each other, when in
Mm-hmm.
reality the cores of each of them are very very similar.
Mm.
You two like generally like you make each other like happy. There's a lot of trust in it. The only thing that's really missing in it is the intimacy. And the thing
Mm.
is, people are not just their bits.
Mm.
That's the reason why again it's easy to like it's easy to have a friend if you're able to, what do you call it, actually be honest with them and like with the boundaries and everything.
I hear that. I hear that, man. Next question.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Right. Are partners allowed to feel uneasy about about the opposite gender? Yeah. Our partners, yeah, are allowed to feel uneasy about the opposite gender's friends, basically. Controversial.
Um, Actually, you answered this one first. Yes, go on, host.
It depends on the scenario. I think feeling uneasy about something also needs,
Mm.
well, yes, they are. Actually, no, let me say, yes, they are allowed to feel uneasy, but I think you need honesty. You
Mhm.
know, you need honesty because if the partner is uneasy and then they go and act on that and on that thing, yeah, that's mad because I think a lot of times you tend to do that. You act on instinct. But if your partner is uneasy on a friendship, I think the first thing you need to do is try and solve it in house.
Mhm.
That's what I think. So yes, they're allowed to feel uneasy, but should they just act based on whatever it is they feel? Hell no.
Mm.
That's what I think. But yeah, it's normal. Like I said, society tells us or has taught us what's normal and what's not. So yeah, some people will be uneasy about it, but I think honesty is the key here. So yes,
Mm.
people are allowed to be uneasy, but you got to watch how you give that message because if it's normal to somebody else and it's not normal to you, you can't just go, you can't do that. I don't like that,
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
every single thing. No, I don't like it because it's the opposite sex. You can't do that. I think you need
Mm.
to understand, and I feel, and I'll get on that part actually. The best way to deal with this, you got to understand what the dynamic is, what it is that person is telling you. Because if they're openly telling you this person of the opposite sex is my friend, they want you to know about them. It's a part of them basically. So you can't just turn around and say no, that part of you, get rid of it.
Mhm.
So yeah, what do you think?
So, if you remember what I said earlier, like if there's a situation where um, she has to like worry about it,
Hmm.
and you're solid in your relationship, then you should have absolutely no problem in reassuring her. As you said, if it starts in house, it's got everything will be sorted out easily.
Yeah.
And if it persists, then you have to like, I guess you have to bring the two together and discuss it. And the thing is, if any of them have a problem with it,
Mm,
specifically,
mm,
especially your friend or your
mm,
in this or in other cases your ex, then they have to be the ones to kind of like also push it as much as you are because they should understand that you two are just friends, nothing more, nothing. Yeah, just they're just friends. Just keep it there. And if, what do you call it, for example, if your partner is in the wrong and they're being irrational, you should feel comfortable telling them like, hey, right now you're kind of, even though I'm reassuring you and acting up, that could be a self thing.
mm,
So it's up to you to like, I don't know, if are you gonna like help them out? Are they like, if you truly love them, you can try help them out. But if it persists, that's gonna be another thing that you two have to sort out. But at the end of it, yes, they are allowed to have their feelings, and with that, you should also be able to, what do you
mm.
call it? You should be able to reassure your partner, and what do you call it? Confirm things with your friend that, hey, can you help me tell my girl that like we're just cool peoples.
All right, I hear that. Um, Abby says you're making me emotional today. I have a gangster reputation to maintain. All right,
Oh
relax,
my gosh,
relax.
what have you
So
done?
yeah, how do you deal with this? Because
Hmm.
people will be uneasy. So let's say it's you, Francis.
Yes, sir.
Francis Bushido Brown. You're
Mhm.
in a relationship and you're
Yeah.
uneasy. So you're coming in a relationship and you're uneasy about
Mhm.
a friendship that your partner has
Mhm.
with somebody of the opposite sex. What is the best way of dealing with things like this? Where's the line when it comes to things like this? Is it expected that when you're in a relationship you can't have friends of the opposite sex, or is there a good way to deal with it? What would So if today people are sitting here going, you know, what can I learn from this? Because let's be honest, in work or wherever you will encounter these things, right?
Mhm.
So how do you deal with things like this if you're uneasy? Because it's
Talk
easy
to
when you
them.
get along with that person.
Yeah, talk to them. Like this, like talk to your partner first. Always talk to your partner first. Because the moment, what do you call it, you talk to, for example, the person that you're uneasy with, it'll feel like, what do you call it, you've just gone around her, or in any cases, you've just gone around that your partner's back, and there is a lack of trust that should already be a foundation of the relationship. So it's,
Mm.
again, it's as easy as that. But I'm saying easy, but then it's difficult for people depending on their past and everything.
Hmm. Okay. RB says you move to an Amish village and live in seclusion.
Or you
Well,
do that. And
well,
it's
okay.
Amish, not Amish, Amish.
Amish, sorry.
Yes, I
Amish.
apologize.
Okay. Look, whatever, man. You know what I mean?
Do me a favor, please. Get out of here.
Sir, please.
Get out of here, man. Shit, I'm saying.
Um,
Please.
look. So you said talk to them. Obviously, you will talk to
Mm,
your partner, like I advised before. I said don't
mm,
act on something that you don't understand. Obviously, you talk to your partner, but how? If this is normal to them, how exactly do you put that message across without being too imposing, and also, um, you know, driving the message?
Dialogue. Just open a dialogue between you
Open it,
two. It's just-
open it. Come on,
no,
come on,
honestly,
Potato Brown.
no, no, honestly, it shouldn't. It really shouldn't be hard. If you're like struggling with being able to open up with your partner, then there's a lot. Then there's a lot to that relationship that you need
That's
to
right. That's
reconsider.
the reason I'm saying this, right?
Hmm.
Is because a message. It's easy to send a message, right?
Hmm.
But it's hard to know if that person understands what you're trying to say.
Hmm.
So today I can say, you can say to your partner, yeah, that person, I'm quite uncomfortable with it, da, da, da,
Hmm.
da, da, and you leave it there. That person will think, your partner will think, so that means I can't be friends anymore with this person. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Or maybe you're just not comfortable, you don't understand, what's good. This is
Hmm.
why I asked how you deal with something like that, because you know personally, I would say if you're in that situation, I think
Hmm.
first it's difficult because yeah, you might have communication, right? But if you're not comfortable, that
Hmm.
your partner might think this is jealousy or something,
Hmm.
or whatever it is. So is it worth understanding what the dynamic is like with the friendship, or understanding what it's about, or just going straight with, listen, I'm not comfortable with the friendship because of A, B, C, D, right? I maybe don't understand the dynamic of your
Hmm.
friendship. Maybe help me understand that so I can, have less concern.
Hmm.
Maybe is it worth also sharing that? Oh no, I've had a, I've had misunderstand, or I've had a mis. My understanding of friends is like this. What's your understanding of friends? Maybe this is why
Hmm.
I'm uncomfortable. Is it worth doing that? That's the question I'm asking, because talking is easy, but what are you saying exactly? You know.
Well, yeah.
Oh.
Oh no, you literally just said it. Like, and none of
Hmm.
Tali's friends been telling him he can't read it.
Now that one Tali's friend's been telling him he can't read, I no pronounce. It's about pronouncing. I read it right. I just pronounced it. I
uh,
just pronounced it wrong.
I,
Look,
I I
look,
gotta get over that.
look who's late. Look who's late. Irish Queen is in the building. What's going on, Irish? Let me just show you properly, man.
Hey,
Um, Hi, how are
Hey,
you?
how are you?
All
Sorry,
good, all
better
good.
late than never.
Better late than never, she says. We're about to
Yeah,
conclude.
literally. I said I'd be late for my own funeral.
Uh, we were about to conclude the show, man. Honestly,
Oh, no way. I'm sorry.
no worries, man. I'll ask you. I'll ask you this last question, right?
Okay.
Do you think your partners are allowed to feel uneasy about having a friendship with the opposite sex? You know.
I can understand that. Like, I do understand male and females can be friends, but I do also know a lot of guys have ulterior motives when they're friends with females.
Mm,
Like,
okay.
to me, I would feel like, oh, a lot of people, a lot of guys I know are my friends. But then it turns out to be where they're secretly hitting on you. It's like, fucking hell, like.
Okay. Fair enough.
So yeah, I mean, I would be that girlfriend. I'd be a bit anxious, but I wouldn't stop it because I feel like, you know, that's part of life. I mean, for females to be a little bit anxious about their partner, and it just shows that they care, I think, underneath it all.
Right. That is
Mhm.
you see what I mean, Bushido Brown? I told you. I told you.
Oh, okay. Why? What was his opinion? I need to know.
Well, he said communication. That's the important part. He said it's important to communicate these things, you know.
Communication is a massive part of any relationship, and I feel like if it's one-sided, it doesn't. It needs to be two-sided, and I feel like if you're communicating right with your partner, yeah, I mean, you might be a little bit jealous, but I think you get over that after a certain period of time. I think
Mm,
that's only kind of in the beginning you would feel like that, you know? If you're
okay.
with someone years, you're not necessarily going to think like that if they have a female friend. But I think
Mm,
because you have the trust built up in them by that point, you know?
okay.
Mm-hmm.
How do you communicate this to your partner then? You know, about feeling uneasy. Let's say, for example, that person doesn't have the same understanding you have. You know, let's say it's normal for them to have a friend of the opposite sex. They're keeping their boundaries and all these things, but you feel uneasy. How do you communicate this? Do you go straight and say, "I don't like this relationship," or what? This is what I want to
I
know.
mean, if it was me personally, I can't hold my tongue. Like, I just have to say it if I think it. Like, so you know where you stand with me. Like,
Yeah.
but I do feel like I would like say, oh well, it doesn't make me feel uncomfortable, or I feel a bit anxious, or like it'd be a different story if they were spending the majority of their time, or they were spending a lot of time with them. Of course, to be a bit like, but like it's different if it's something now and again or something. Like it would, to me, if you're friends with them and if it was say a night out or something you were invited on, whatever, if you're as a partner, like if you're together with someone a long time, usually you're getting invited as a couple and stuff like that, you know.
Mm,
But I
mm,
do
mm,
feel like the trust you have after years of being with someone is a lot different than something if it's fairly fresh, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Okay. No, that's a fair point. Um, and has it worked? This method that you're speaking of, like just being straight with it and saying,
Personally, I don't trust men. Like you have to remember, I work with men, so I see how quite shady men are. Married men, men with girlfriends. So it's I don't have trust because that's
"Well,
put on a plate, and if a man thinks he'll get away with it, he'll try it.
okay, but is it
Mhm.
effective?" I get what you're saying. You don't trust men
I
and whatnot.
personally, I'm all about communicating when I'm in a relationship, but most guys see you're communicating, right, as a conversation, right?
Mm,
Guys see it as if you're breathing down their neck, or oh, you're on at me, or they don't look at it like you're actually just genuinely trying to have a conversation about it, like because it doesn't
mm,
make you feel comfortable.
mm,
hmm
mm, mm.
Mm.
So I feel like my aspect of it is probably very different than what you guys might have,
Yeah,
because I feel like most of the guys end up being like that with guys with me. Yeah,
yeah,
like I
yeah.
feel like I can't have any guy friends, but uh, the reason why I would have a lot of guy friends is because I feel like females come with quite a lot of drama, or that's if they're not trying to fuck your dude.
Oh,
Not
well
quite
then.
lying.
Lord Jesus.
You have
No,
some of these females that are like that, though.
wow.
Mhm.
They're
But
actually
like,
terrifying.
I'm just being real. Sorry.
Yeah, no, no,
Mm.
I hear that. I hear that. You know, I personally, I think, like I was
What's
saying,
your fears like?
what I was saying is I think it depends on how you communicate this message, right? Because it could be
Hmm.
the coin, the coin could be on the other, or the shoe could be on the other foot, as they say.
Hmm.
Where the partner that you're with has a friend that they're quite comfortable with.
Yeah.
Maybe she has her boundaries, but you're not comfortable, right? So I was thinking
Hmm.
to myself, okay, how is it that you communicate? I would want to understand how that person understands, platonic relationships with the opposite sex, right? How that
Hmm.
person understands what a relationship is like with the
Mhm.
opposite sex and where their boundaries are. That's the first part that I would want to find. Because at the end of
Hmm.
the day, I'm with that person and I want to know how they understand these things. Forget about people being dodgy, people being unfaithful, and all this. I want to know where they
Yeah.
think. You know why? Because I want to set this is the level. This is where we are.
I feel like it really is, as well as that, it's about your approach to how what way you come across about it. If you're
Mm,
going in attacking someone, that's not going to amount to anything
nothing.
realistically, but
Yeah.
chaos.
Yeah.
And you're going to end up in obviously a blow up of an argument. But like, I feel like that's not what you're obviously trying to achieve by just sitting down and communicating it in a certain way that you're not coming across like you're a bunny boiler, Like, I would not want to be that type of girlfriend that says, "Oh, don't be friends with her, don't be friends with that person." Like, I feel like that's where the massive part of trust comes in. Yes, it's earned, but as you said, the communication, that is such a big part. I feel like that is the majority of your actual relationship. If you can communicate with your partner 100%, and for them to take the message on board and not be like quite annoyed about it, I do
Mm,
feel like, it's a bit easier for you to work through matters like that.
I hear
The
that.
communication 100%, really, that's what it boils down to.
Okay. No,
Hmm.
that's a fair point. That's a fair point.
Hmm.
I think yeah. Bottom line is your partner should, if they're uneasy, they're allowed to feel uneasy. It's just how you
Yeah.
communicate this. I think that's the important part because I think with emotions, you tend to communicate how you're feeling, the way you're feeling in that moment. So you don't really sit down and think about it and go, if I give them this message, yo, how is she going to take it? How is he going to take it? Whatever it is, right? So I think it's quite important to sort of understand how the person takes in what you tell them,
Mhm.
Yeah,
and how,
definitely. Yeah.
and you learn that over time. And like you said, you learn it over time. If you go guns blazing, that relationship might be over before you know it, or they might step
Yeah,
out on
exactly. Yeah,
on
I
them.
do feel like it's about having the patience as well. Like,
Mm,
if you put yourself in that other person's shoes as
mm,
well, like, I mean, it can't be okay for, say, him to be friends with females, but it's not okay for me to be friends. The double standards or anything like
yeah,
that. I do
yeah.
feel like, yeah.
Mm.
It
And it's,
definitely does make such a difference.
and
Obviously, if your partner is able to take stuff on board and it's pretty easy going to take it.
Absolutely, and it's a trust thing as well. I think I don't know. For me personally, the way I've handled this is, I guess, allowing my partner to know my friends. Of
Mhm.
course, there's some friends that that are on and off, so you can't really just introduce these friendships. But
Hmm.
to let them know my friends, they don't have to be friends. It's just literally, this is my friend. This is who I talk to. Whatever it is, that's for me personally, I've seen it as a more effective way because I think one thing anybody doesn't like is that one surprising person popping up at some point. You know what I mean? Like, who's this person calling?
Yeah, I
Whatever.
mean, if you haven't seen this girl or something in years, and yeah, then you meet them out in the street, and they're like, "Oh my god, hiya!" and you're hugging each other, and like, as a partner, you're standing there, and yeah, of course, it's a bit awkward
That's
because
right.
you're kind of like, "Who the fuck is that?
That's
Who
right.
is she?" Especially if she's good looking. I
Ah!
know. I'm joking. I'm joking. No, but
Lord Jesus.
Go on.
no, but I feel like at that little split second, it is a little bit awkward because, especially if you don't know who that person is. But obviously, you're thinking, well, that's obviously not an extra. They wouldn't be hugging them,
Exactly.
you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Nah, that's good. I hope. Well, Irish Queen, obviously, like I said, you're late.
Sorry,
This is
I
the last
joined so
question.
late, guys. It's just the timing is so bad for me. It's like feeding time at the zoo here, 7
No,
p.m.
no worries. Sorry about
But sure,
that.
look, I'll catch you again on another one. Sorry, guys, about the
No
late
problem.
joining.
No problem. No problem. So yeah, the question was, can you just be friends with can men and women just be friends? So I'll start with Bushido Brown first. Do you think men and women can just be friends?
Yes.
What about you, Irish Queen? Do you think they can
I
just
do feel like they can because I can't say no. I have a lot of guy friends, and genuinely, we're just friends. Like, you know.
Okay. I'll also ask the chat, can men and women just be friends? That is the question there. So I'll put it in the poll. Chichewa word of the week. Every week we teach people a Chichewa word. So in this case, Mr. Definitely Not Francis, have you got a word for us?
I was not thinking about it. I will not lie. So whatever you think,
Uh,
I'm cool.
oh man, I don't know, you know.
I never. You need to tell me
What
in
Um
words?
advance.
You have me
so
lost.
yeah, so basically, because we're from Malawi, we like to teach the audience a word from
Oh,
Malawi,
okay.
and then they can translate it to whatever language that they do. It's just something we do on the podcast, basically.
Okay. Cool.
What's the Chichewa word for friend? Definitely not Francis. Do you know? I'll find out. I'll find
Um,
out. Hold on. I'll find out. Don't worry. I'll find out. Wenzi. Wenzi.
Wednesday, yeah.
I haven't heard that one in a while. Okay, so Wenzi means friend. So the Chichewa word of the week. So the way it works, Irish Queen, is when we do a certain episode called Five Shots and Chill, right? And when people guess this word, they get like a point for a quiz, basically. So
Okay.
yeah. So that's how it works. So friend.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're gonna
No, but
put
that's cool that at least you're teaching someone, like, you know, I wouldn't know that. Like, and I do pick up words from other languages, so that's pretty cool.
That's right. That's right. So maybe when you travel to Malawi and people say,
Yeah.
hey, Mzako, Mzanga, you see.
You see, that's
So
what I'm used to. Wednesday,
that's yeah.
And like, I mean,
I've been
would you
corrected
have a
here.
lot of sorry, I know I kind of totally got a bit tongue tied there. Would you have a lot of people around your area even? Because like, you know, the way they arrange like different nights and events for, say, different, like, I know like there's loads of Nigerian get-togethers and stuff here in Ireland. Like, would there be stuff like that there for you guys, like from
Yeah.
your whereabouts in the world?
Yeah. Of course. There's
That's
loads of
cool.
them. There's
Oh, that's
even
cool.
where you are, even where you are now. I think there's a few events that happen where people get together.
Yeah, there
Um,
is. There definitely
yeah.
is.
So
That's cool.
no, absolutely. But I think the best and most convenient opportunity is normally online. So that's why we
Of
do
course.
this. That's why we do this. I have been corrected, people. So friend is Mzanga, not Wenzi. It's Mzanga. So Google told me Wenzi, but friends is Mzanga. It's pronounced Mzanga. I can't believe I forgot that. But Wenzi is more like on the romantic side. When you say Wenzi Langa, it means that's my
Like
romantic partner.
your romantic friend, your
That's
girlfriend.
your you know what
Okay.
I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Oh my gosh.
What are you?
But yeah, no. Thank you, Irish Queen. Thank you,
All
guys.
right, thanks.
Guys in the
Nice to
chat.
meet you again.
Have a
See you
good and
soon,
nice
right?
to meet you too.
Take care.
If you haven't seen Irish Queen's interview, actually, we did her interview like months ago. So go check her out. This woman is straightforward. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of surprises on that one. She talked about eating a burger, on that one, if you know what
Oh
I'm
God.
saying. All right, guys, listen. Have a
Oh,
good
go on.
evening.
Take care. Have a good
Take
one,
it easy.
guys. Bye.